Dark Angel Aurora, the fallen angel. The heavens were silent, save for the rustling of ethereal winds. Dark Angel Aurora stood on the celestial edge, her dark wings trembling under the weight of divine judgment. Her once lustrous black feathers now carried a faint glow of decay, a mark of the sins that had led her here. The High Council of Angels had spoken. Her crimes, pride, rebellion, and forbidden acts of compassion for humanity could not be overlooked. The Creator's voice echoed like thunder in her mind. Aurora, your defiance has shattered the harmony of the heavens. For your deeds, you are cast down to earth, to walk among mortals until you understand the gravity of your actions. Tears blurred her violet eyes as she gazed at the endless expanse below. Aurora had always walked a fine line between light and darkness, but she never thought she would fall so completely. She looked back one last time at the golden spires of heaven, her home for eons, now slipping away like a fading dream. And then, the fall began. The sky split open, roaring with divine fury. Aurora's body arched as an unseen force hurled her downward. Her wings, once a source of pride, flared wide, catching fire as they tore through layers of light and clouds. Trails of black smoke and shimmering embers followed her descent, painting the heavens with her agony. The higher she fell, the colder the air became. Memories flooded her mind, of her rebellion, of stolen moments on earth where she had healed the broken and whispered secrets to lost souls. She had seen beauty in humanity's flaws, a beauty forbidden by celestial law. But now, all she felt was pain. Her once immortal body began to fracture. Streaks of silver blood leaked from her wounds, crystallizing into falling stars. Her cries were swallowed by the rushing wind, a melody of despair and defiance. The earth below drew closer. Cities, forests, and oceans sprawled like a patchwork quilt. The last remnants of her celestial power wrapped around her like a cocoon, shielding her from total annihilation. Finally, she crashed. The impact shook the ground, creating a crater in the heart of a desolate field. Smoke and dust swirled, obscuring her broken form. Aurora lay there, her wings charred and mangled, her celestial glow reduced to a faint shimmer. The once proud angel was now a shadow of her former self, bound by gravity and mortality. As the dust settled, Aurora forced herself to stand, her legs trembling beneath her. The night sky stretched above her, indifferent to her fall. She reached out to touch the cold earth, feeling its grit and life beneath her fingers. A voice whispered in her mind, softer now but no less commanding, Aurora, you are here not to punish but to learn. Redemption lies in understanding. Rise, and walk among them. With those words, her violet eyes burned with new resolve. Dark Angel Aurora, the Dark Angel, took her first steps on earth, her journey of penance and purpose beginning under the stars. Aurora, the fallen angel. Aurora stumbled out of the crater, her legs weak and her body aching. Each step sent a jolt of pain through her once immortal frame. The stars above mocked her with their brilliance, a stark contrast to the cold darkness in her heart. The field around her was barren, a reflection of her soul. She paused, staring at her reflection in a pool of rainwater that had collected in the uneven ground. Her once majestic wings were now reduced to a skeletal outline, the feathers burned to ash. Her face, though still ethereal, bore the marks of her fall. Cracks like faint lightning scars streaked her skin, glowing faintly in the dark. As she gazed at her reflection, she heard faint whispers carried on the wind. Voices. Human voices. They were close. Aurora moved toward the sound, her steps growing steadier with each stride. Her celestial senses, though dulled, guided her to the edge of a nearby forest. There, in a small clearing, she saw them, a group of wanderers gathered around a fire. Their faces were weary, their clothes tattered. They spoke in hushed tones, their words laced with fear. She remained hidden, observing them. Their pain was palpable, a stark reminder of the humanity she had once sought to protect. Her heart ached, but her fall had taught her caution. She was no longer an untouchable force of the heavens. Here, she was vulnerable. One of the humans, a young woman with a face streaked with soot, looked up. Her eyes locked onto Aurora's shadowy form in the trees. Who's there? She called, her voice trembling. Aurora hesitated. Her instinct was to flee, to remain unseen. But something about the girl's voice pulled at her. She stepped forward, her movements deliberate, her presence otherworldly. The firelight illuminated her cracked skin and charred wings. The group gasped, some backing away, others grabbing makeshift weapons. I mean you no harm, Aurora said, her voice carrying the faint echo of celestial power. I am lost. The young woman stepped closer, her fear giving way to curiosity. You don't look like anyone from around here. Who are you? Aurora hesitated. What could she say? That she was a fallen angel, cast out of heaven for her sins. Instead, she answered with the only truth that mattered. I am Aurora. The girl nodded slowly, sensing the pain behind Aurora's words. I'm Leela. This is my family. She gestured to the others, who still watched Aurora warily. Why are you out here? Aurora asked, her voice softening. Lila's expression darkened. The wars. The famine. The world's falling apart. We're trying to find a safe place, but there's nowhere left to go. Aurora felt a pang of guilt. She had seen humanity suffering from afar, but now it was right before her. These were the very people she had tried to protect, the ones she had broken the heavenly laws for. You won't find safety here, Aurora said, her voice firm. But I can help you find shelter for the night. The group exchanged uncertain glances, but Leela nodded. We don't have much choice. If you can help, we'll accept. Aurora led them deeper into the forest, her celestial senses guiding her to a hidden cave. Inside, the group lit another fire and settled down, their fear of Aurora gradually giving way to gratitude. As they rested, Aurora sat apart from them, her mind racing. This was her punishment, wasn't it? To walk among humanity, to witness their pain, and to feel powerless to fix it. But as she watched Leela comfort a crying child, Aurora felt a spark of hope. Perhaps she wasn't powerless. Perhaps she could still make a difference, even in this broken form. When the group had fallen asleep, Leela approached her. You're not like us, are you? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Aurora met her gaze. No, I'm not. Leela nodded, as if she had already known. You're here for a reason, aren't you? Aurora sighed. I was cast down. For caring too much, for breaking the rules. Now I'm here, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Leela placed a hand on Aurora's shoulder. Maybe it's not about knowing. Maybe it's about doing. The words struck a chord in Aurora. She had been so consumed by her fall, by her loss, that she hadn't considered what lay ahead. Redemption wasn't something to be granted, it was something to be earned. As dawn broke, Aurora stood at the entrance of the cave, her resolve solidifying. The group stirred awake, their faces filled with uncertainty about the day ahead. Aurora turned to them, her voice steady. If you'll have me, I'll guide you. Together, we'll find a place where you can be safe. The group looked at each other, then back at Aurora. One by one, they nodded. And so, the fallen angel began her journey with humanity, not as their savior, but as one of them. Aurora 666, once cast down in disgrace, now walked the earth with purpose, her sins a shadow of the light she hoped to reignite. Aurora 666, the fallen angel, the vampire duel. Days turned into weeks as Aurora led the small band of humans across desolate lands. The group grew to trust her, though they often marveled at her otherworldly aura and strength. Aurora had begun to feel a faint flicker of hope, a sense that she could make amends for her past transgressions. But not all who walked the earth shared her vision. Darkness had its own agents, and one of them had been tracking Aurora for days. It was on a cold, moonless night that they first sensed it, a shadow moving too quickly, too fluidly, just beyond the edge of their firelight. The humans huddled close, fear thick in the air. Aurora stood watch, her charred wings twitching with unease. Leela whispered, "What is it?" Aurora's violet eyes scanned the darkness. "Something unnatural. Stay close to the fire." Before another word could be spoken, the shadow lunged into the light. It was a young woman, her pale skin glowing faintly, her crimson eyes gleaming with hunger. Her long black hair whipped around her as she landed lightly on the ground, her movements as graceful as a predator's. Well, the vampire purred, her voice dripping with malice. What do we have here? A fallen angel and her little flock of sheep. Aurora stepped forward, shielding the humans. Leave them alone. Your quarrel is with me. The vampire tilted her head, smirking. Oh, I know who you are, Aurora 666. The heavens may have cast you down, but your name still carries weight. I've been waiting for this moment, a chance to prove that darkness reigns supreme. Aurora's eyes narrowed. You've chosen the wrong night for this fight. The vampire lunged at blinding speed, her claws aimed straight for Aurora's throat. Aurora sidestepped, her movements fluid despite her weakened state. The two clashed, the vampire's strikes precise and feral, while Aurora's were calculated and defensive. The humans watched in terror as the battle unfolded, their firelight casting long shadows on the trees. Aurora and the vampire moved too quickly for mortal eyes to follow, their blows shaking the ground and sending sparks into the air. You're weak, angel, the vampire taunted, slashing at Aurora's burnt wings. You've fallen so far, and now you're nothing but a shadow of what you once were. Aurora gritted her teeth, pain shooting through her as the vampire's claws tore into her. But she refused to yield. Weakness isn't falling, she said, her voice steady. It's staying down. Summoning what remained of her celestial power, Aurora unleashed a blinding pulse of light. The vampire shrieked, stumbling back as the holy energy seared her flesh. You'll pay for that. The vampire hissed, her crimson eyes blazing with rage. She darted forward again, but Aurora was ready. Using the vampire's momentum against her, Aurora spun and drove her knee into the creature's chest, sending her sprawling to the ground. Before the vampire could recover, Aurora stood over her, one foot pinning her to the earth. Your hunger for power blinds you, Aurora said, her voice cold. You could have chosen a different path, but now you leave me no choice. The vampire snarled, her fangs bared. Do it, then. Kill me, if you dare. Aurora hesitated. The heavens would have demanded justice, but she was no longer their instrument. She knelt, her violet eyes locking with the vampire's. I won't kill you. Not tonight. But leave this place and never harm these people again. If you cross me again, I won't show mercy. The vampire glared at her but seemed to sense the truth in Aurora's words. With a snarl, she pushed herself up and vanished into the shadows, her parting words echoing in the air. This isn't over, Fallen One. Darkness always finds a way. Aurora turned back to the humans, their faces pale with fear and awe. Leela stepped forward, her voice trembling. You could have killed her. Why didn't you? Aurora looked at the charred remains of her wings and the scars on her hands. Because redemption isn't just for me. Even in the darkest soul, there's a spark worth saving. The group remained silent, their fear giving way to a new kind of respect. As they resumed their journey, Aurora couldn't help but feel a flicker of pride. She was learning, step by step, what it meant to walk among humanity, not as a judge, but as a guide. And though the road ahead was uncertain, one thing was clear, her battle with darkness was far from over. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and share.